Okay, so today's topic we're going to look at questionnaires. Now, questionnaires are really good ways of collecting primary data. Secondary data, like we've discussed before, comes from other sources like the internet or books and things like that. So let's have a look at some questions, and I want you guys to think about what is wrong with the question. So we'll give you some questions, and I will highlight some key points of what is in a good questionnaire. So let's have a look at this one. It says it is said that it's important to eat regular meals. Dietitians say that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Do you eat breakfast? So what is wrong with that question? With a little bit of thought, I would say, well, it's a little bit too wordy. Um, it needs to be shorter. So something like this is far better. Do you eat breakfast every day? And also you'll notice it says, do you eat breakfast? Well, it doesn't give me a time frame. Do I eat breakfast every day, every week, every year? It's not specific enough, so it needs to be much more specific. So we need a short, simple question. Ideally, you include a time frame, so in this case every day, and we want something to tick a tick box answer, so it's nice and quick to do. Okay, moving on. We've got another question here. It says, how many sisters do you have? So have a little think about this. What is wrong with this question? Well, hopefully you've noticed that we have choices which overlap. So suppose I have two sisters. Which box do I tick? Do I tick this box here, or do I tick this box here? So do I tick here or here? Because I have exactly two sisters. So again, it's not a good question. Also, it doesn't seem to cover all possible answers. What happens if I have five sisters or six sisters and I come from a big family? Again, there's no option for me to choose that, so it's not a particularly good question. A better question would be something like this. How many sisters do you have? Again, we've got tick boxes and it covers all possible outcomes. So we got 0, 1 to 2, 3 to 4, anything more than 4. So the answers boxes cover all possibilities, and most importantly, the answer boxes don't overlap. You can never have answer boxes that overlap. That's a poor questionnaire. Okay, another one. So here we have a question. It says, how often do you watch TV? Rarely, sometimes, or often. So have a little think about what would be wrong with this question. With a little bit of thought, the question, the problem that springs to mind for me is that, well, the answers are kind of vague. How often is rarely? What rarely to some people can mean different things. Rarely could mean once a week. It could mean once a day. Again, and I don't have a time frame here, so it's not really specific. It's a vague question. So something better would be something like this. How many hours do you watch TV a day? This is far better because it's specific. It asks me how many hours and it gives me a time frame per day. And as well as that, it gives me options to choose uh, so that I can tick the box and nothing will overlap. So I cover all possible outcomes. So the question was specific and the answer boxes as well are specific. Another one here. How old are you? So what could be wrong with this question? So picture yourself conducting a survey and asking people a questionnaire, and you walk up to people in a shopping centre and ask them how old are you. I think certain people will not want to answer that question. It can be quite personal, and um, people don't want to be giving out their personal information. So something like this is far better. If I ask how old are you, under 18, between 18 and 30, and over 30, it's unlikely that someone is going to be offended by a question like this. Another question here. Don't you agree that watching too much TV is bad for you? So what's the problem with this question? Well, the thing that springs to mind, by saying don't you agree, I'm almost answering the question myself. So it's what we call a leading question. I'm suggesting that you should agree with me by saying don't you agree? So we don't want leading questions. So a better question would be something like this. Watching too much TV is bad for you. Strongly disagree, disagree, agree, and strongly agree. Now some people might put something in the middle here, which would be no opinion. I myself don't think it's a good idea to put that in there because lots of people will tend to go for that option. So this is a much better option. You can decide whether people disagree or agree. So at least this way people do have an opinion on it. So the key points here were the question should not be personal, and you certainly don't want to ask leading questions. Right, that's it from me. So if you've printed off the sheet, you can have a go at these questions. So see if you can work out what's wrong with each of the questions we have here. And if you have some time, always a good idea to design a better question and response section for each one. Okay, so here's what I put down. The first question, how much time do you spend doing homework? Again, there's no boxes for me to tick off and there's no time frame given, so I would ideally like something with a tick box, and I would like to know, well, how much time do you spend doing homework, maybe per day or per week? So it needs to be more specific. How much money do you spend on lunch each week? A little or a lot? Again, it's a vague answer boxes here. A little, a lot. A little to some people could be a lot to others. So we want something a bit more specific. Possibly tick boxes that have maybe 0, 1 to 4, 5 to 7, etc., etc. So you want tick boxes that cover all the possible answers. Don't you agree exercise is good for you? Yes or no? It's a bit of a leading question again, because saying don't you agree? So it's suggesting that you should agree. This one here, how much pocket money do you get each week? Well, if you look at the boxes, you can clearly see that there's overlaps, which is never a good idea when doing a good questionnaire. Have you ever been arrested? Lots of people will not want to answer that question. That's very, very personal. And the last one here, what's your favorite fruit? Apple, orange, or banana? Well, it doesn't really cover all possibilities. What happens if your favorite fruit is a pear or strawberries or something like that? So you need to cover all possible answers. That's it from me. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it useful. And best of luck with the revision. I'll talk to you again sometime. Take it easy.